Tony Charlton's Football Show.
On Friday night at 8 o'clock, Norman Smith received a letter sent by special delivery. The letter produced the bombshell that his appointment as coach of the strongest football club in the history of the game was cancelled as from that date. Amongst other things, the letter said this: "It is most unfortunate that your long and valued association with the club should have to end in this way, but drastic steps must be taken to prevent any further disruption of the club's activities." What's this all about? How did it start? How could such a thing have possibly happened? Who is this man, Norman Smith, and why has this decision had such a widespread effect on this community? Why, indeed, has it created nothing less than a furor? Well, we will try to answer those questions and those in between in this special sports show on a monumental football decision. Norman Smith is nothing short of a football legend in this part of the world. The record books show that he is 50 years of age and that he has been married for 25 years. Norman Smith's career with the Demons has come to an end after 14 years as a player and 14 years as a coach. His playing days gave the Demons 204 matches, and they included 4 premierships. His coaching days have secured 6 premierships, including a hat-trick, and the side has had an unparalleled run of success in the finals for more than a decade. He has been with Melbourne for 30 years, and somewhere in between times he spent 3 years as coach of Fitzroy. To those who have had the pleasure of knowing Norman Smith, he represents integrity, drive and enthusiasm, good company, and a forceful character. How often in this program have we all been captured by his humility? All of these things add up to the making of an outstanding personality who shortly makes his first comment on the issue which surrounds him. Where does it all start?
Well, it starts back, I'd say a year or two ago. I think when the committee failed to support me, or give me the support that I wanted in this writ action, it was unacceptable to me that I could work with men who wouldn't back me, men who would expect me to get the utmost from the players and demand from the players the loyalty and support, and at the other end of the line were not prepared to give me their support. That's where it started.
Your support of Barassi's move to Charlton, did that add fuel to the fire?
It added fuel for sure. I mean, I felt that the boy had given us such wonderful service, and he'd battled when he was a young boy, and he's done well for himself, and I was not going to stand in his way. There were people down there who were prepared to stand in their way, people who fought me bitterly, people whom I thought had forgotten the whole thing, but never did they forget it. They were always ready to knock and shoot on every possible occasion.
You don't feel that you're being unreasonable in comments of that kind?
Unreasonable? I reckon I'm being very reasonable. I feel like saying a lot more. And I say this to the 12 guilty men. I mean, sit back on your television shows and you just watch it.
Norm, why did you tell the committee during the week that you intended to resign at the end of this year?
I was ordered to appear before the committee on Wednesday night. And what's happened since makes me feel sure that that was the night I was to be sacked. I spoke to Len and I said, I think I'll offer my resignation. And Len said to me, don't be a fool, you owe it to the boys to keep coaching. And I felt that this was so. So he said, eat humble pie. Ever eaten humble pie? It's got an awful taste, but I ate humble pie and I tricked the committee. They expected me to blow up and they had the opportunity. Well, instead of that happening there and then, they waited for something else to happen. And it didn't happen. So then they created 2 lies. They created 2 lies and put it in writing and sent it out by special messenger just to get rid of me. No, I think there was 2 images of Melbourne that certain people wanted to destroy. In one sense it was Ronnie, and then I think the other sense it's me.
But why would anybody want to do that?
I can't understand it, Tony. I think it's jealousy. I looked at the Sun yesterday and I saw there I was controversial, master tactician, but at the end of it, it had another word, successful. And I think with success brings jealousy, and I know there are a lot of jealous men, but I could just shake them off, shrug my shoulders and ignore them. And it was this ignoring of people down at Melbourne that made the whole thing blow up.
What were you doing when the news was delivered to you?
Well, we were debating, Graham Wire stays with me on a Friday night, and my wife Marge and Graham and myself, we were debating which movie we would look at. And this special messenger, no word of mouth, no one would come and tell me, just special messenger turned up and handed the letter, and I read the letter, and I would say that I was rather shocked.
What was your first reaction?
I don't know, I was just stunned to think, and the allegations. One allegation was I told a deliberate lie. Anyone that knows me knows I wouldn't lie. I'd sooner fight than lie. I mean, I don't lie. But they said it, and the thing was, well, fancy them doing a thing like this to me without giving me the right. I was tried, sentenced, convicted, sentenced, without any right to express on my own behalf this allegation. Now, later on in the show, we're going to have the captain and vice-captain of Melbourne here, I hope, and they're going to tell you that one of these allegations is a complete and utter fabrication. Now, if the captain and vice-captain who were present when it was alleged to have been done will make this statement, surely this Melbourne Football Club committee are going to be big enough to offer me an apology. It won't be forthcoming because they're not men enough.
If they did offer this apology, is there a chance of a reconciliation?
There's only one way I'd ever go back to Melbourne. If those men offer themselves for election, they've never stood for an election. If they offer themselves for election, if they've got the courage of their convictions, they'll do this, Tony. But I don't think they will. They sit back and they're snug and they don't even approach me. They do it behind my back, everything that's done down there. Why? They're things I don't do. As I said to the President the other night, we got arguing at the committee over something on Wednesday night. I said, you went to a big school, you went to a public school, I went to a state school. I said, but they still spelt principle the same way. And it's a principle for which I am fighting. I was brought up that way. Len was brought up that way. And if you haven't got principle, you haven't got anything. And I've got principle, and I'll fight for this principle to the day I die.
What repercussions, Norm, do you expect this whole episode to have within the club?
The repercussions I would like it to have is that every Melbourne Football Club supporter and every Melbourne Cricket Club supporter registers a protest in the strongest terms at the way it's been handled. Get rid of these blokes. That's the only way the club will progress. I have told the president, I have told the secretary, I spoke to them as friends. I said, look, the club's slipping. This has been used again. I'm undermining them. I can see something happening that nobody else can see. I spoke to Ronnie this morning. He can see it. He could see it happening. Everyone can see it happening, but the fools who run it.
Norm, this will split the club wide open, the strongest football machine that league football in this state has ever known.
This, Tony, could make the club. It'll split the club if it's allowed to continue. But if they approach it the right way, it could make it. This is a time when you find your friends, and from disharmony like this, when people get together, this is when you get strength. And this is a way we can get the Melbourne club can get strength, by getting men there of substance and with the right principles.
Do you think the club is guilty? Is there guilt to be attached to a principle which maybe they have adopted in that the club is bigger than the individual?
The club has always been bigger than the individual. I told the president this, or the chairman this, on Wednesday night. But it's also bigger than 12 men who sit round a table. They don't own it. They're only delegated by the members, by myself, a member of the Melbourne Cricket Club, to run the club in the best interest, for the best interest of the supporters. But they just go their own way.
What do you think you'll do, Norm?
I don't know. It's a toughie, isn't it? I don't know just what to do.
You're full of fight.
I'll fight if that can do any good.
I ask you this because obviously there's a ready-made vacancy for you at Richmond in view of the illness of your brother, who you say will be here this morning and who has already granted us an interview which will be shown later anyhow, and because Jack Titus, who is at present coach of the club, has made it quite plain that he doesn't intend to carry on after this season.
I'm Melbourne at this stage, Tony. I'm Melbourne. I'm Melbourne, and to talk about anything like that would be against these principles that I mentioned. I am Melbourne, and I'm Melbourne through and through. I sat and listened to it on the radio yesterday, first time for 31 years. I've had to listen to something that I love. It's not very easy to take. I don't know what I'll do, Tony.